Crazy. Amazing. All right. Oh my God. That, ladies and gentlemen, this is what we call kacha or mafi or matcha plus coffee. So if you guys have been following, I love my green energy. One of the things that have always been consistent in my life has been green tea and matcha, even before it became mainstream and trendy. I love coffee as well. I used to drink energy drinks, don't do that anymore. But in terms of like my ideal caffeine consumption, it would be matcha and coffee. And some days, man, when I need a little pick me up, a little tired, I just mix the both. Matcha gives that consistent energy, coffee gives that like spike. By combining the two, you have best of both worlds, and it's fantastic. I love it. I call this airplane fuel. It just gives me wings and helps me fly. But had a good one, had to go work out today. Now been working for a couple hours, syncing with my team, doing calls, doing meetings. I actually just had a call with somebody not too long ago. This person actually started in a consulting program called the Recruiter School, where we work with new business owners or established business owners, helping them level up. Anyway, this person had zero previous recruitment or business experience, also had a full-time job. And now just 1 year later, which is something that I try to do to catch up with and keep relationships with all of our clients and students. She shared with me that next month, she's about to clear over $90,000. That's $90,000 in cash. This is with someone who is making $80,000 in her job annually. She just surpassed that in 1 month. And the funny thing is, I was reminiscing with her and she was kind of sharing with me in the first days where, her dream fantasy goal would be like, let's do 5, 10, 15K a month. And here we are making 90K months. And if she can do it, you can do it. If I can do it, you can do it too. And the crazy thing about recruiting is when I say these big numbers, the reason why recruiting is so special and dear to my heart is we're talking like 98, 99% profit margins. Unlike other businesses where it'd be like 10% profit margins, 15% profit margins. You make 90,000 in cash in recruiting, you bet, especially if you have a small team or solo, all of that, if not most of that, goes into your pocket. So super proud, just one of many examples of people that I keep in touch with. I get calls and texts every day. Another guy did over $200,000 this past quarter. He's on $1 million run and he's also brand new. We also got people who are established. We're working with them, automate their teams, adding that right technology layer, making sure their fundamentals are leveled up. So all this awesome stuff. So if you are brand new, you need help, you want to level up, you want to learn more, just go to the description box. We'll have to chat with you. And then I just spent a good kind of 20, 30 minutes keeping tabs with our community. And it's pretty awesome. Like some amazing wins here of people doing interviews. We got a final round happening literally tomorrow. That could be another $40,000 placement deal. We got, I think, 20 to 30 different interviews happening at any given time with our agency. And also a portion of that is from our splits community where you can work directly with me and my agency and work on real roles. These are real roles with real companies that sign agreements that need to hire people ASAP. And we also got amazing people sharing even their roles with my agency, with the splits as well. So a lot of stuff happening right now and just doing what I can to kind of keep the deal flow, interviews going, keep making sure the clients and candidates are happy. But gonna get ready to also start our weekly coaching calls. This is with our Recruiter School clients and students. Happens twice a week, every week for 4 months. And it's just awesome. So much fun. People who are brand new, people doing 7 figures annually, people everywhere in between, just sharing tactics, advice, tips to just help everyone anchor in the week and just keep leveling on. So I'm about to do this right now and then go on for the rest of the day, do some more work, share with you some updates about our software company, maybe do another little workout here, perhaps even maybe another cup or two, and continue to get fired up. See you in a bit. One of the hardest things that I have to deal with now is not just focusing on one team, one business, but multiple. And this is something that was kind of difficult for me in the beginning because I know that to find any level of success doing anything, you have to be absolutely focused. And that's how I was able to reach a level of success in recruitment. But then it requires even more effort and attention, maintaining that and starting something new. So when we started the Recruiter School, which is our consulting thing, that required me to even be more on top of my time organizational skills. And now with this software thing, it's borderline kind of cray-cray because there's only so much time I have even just doing recruiting and so much leftover time I have beyond that. So to be able to now allocate the remaining time into other different businesses is challenging and still continues to be quite challenging. And I think the only way that I was able to do that is be able to bring in the right people to drive a lot of the things that I normally can't do and being able to add the right systems, technology, scale up a team to free up my time back. So with recruiting, it started with me by myself. Then we have a team.
right? That gave me my time back so that I was able to start our consulting business, the Recruiter School. The first 6-12 months, it took most of my time. Same thing, was able to take myself out a little bit, really focus still on the most important parts of the business, which is fulfillment, obviously support and service, and be able to hire a team to help with everything else. And now on the software side. The only reason though I'm doing 3 different businesses is I never really planned on doing it. Every single one of these have been started from just organic demand and growth, which I think every single business should start with, right? Whether it's a passion area, whether it's like interest or like an opportunity has come to you, instead of you just thinking of an idea and going to the market, try to validate it, which I think is the hardest thing to do. Every single one of these businesses have literally come to us and it became kind of a no-brainer to start. So the reason we started consulting is I started a YouTube channel just to document my own journey as a recruiter for the last 10 years called Recruiter Preston. It was honestly a creative outlet, had no underlying agenda or plan, and that's kind of how I ran it until people started reaching out saying, hey, like I really want to learn how to be a recruiter just like you or run and start a business just like you. Can you please teach me? And for the longest time we said no because I'm still a recruiter, my time is limited, and it just made sense to start that. Now with the software thing, like I started as a manual recruiter, right? Doing everything manually. I burned out and I'm like, there has to be a better way. Then I quickly became an expert in some of the best tools out there and I realized, wow, these aren't perfect. So that's why we developed our AI product called Flint, initially just for ourselves. Like we didn't want to share it with anybody else, but because the value became such a game changer, we're like, wow, we're actually saving hours each day, not having to do all the mundane manual tasks to go out there and get leads and clients for our business. Like it's a game changer. How about we share this with our consulting community? Because I want all of them to have the edge to have access to the best tools and products out there that has now become a core product for even my own agency. And then the reception has been amazing as well. It was like a double validation. So, okay, cool. Well, it'll be amazing to help other recruiters and agencies with the same problem. And I think it became manageable because we found the right people. We have a co-founder, we have a team, but the biggest lessons on the software side is that it's a whole different can of worms from a service business that's very transactional on the recruiting side or even the consulting side. I think with software, the biggest thing that I'm personally learning, and I hear about this a lot because I've placed software engineers, worked with founders for over a decade, is really understanding like the pain points and your users and making sure there is a go-to-market fit or even a product market fit. And I think like what really helped us in hindsight is we developed a product for ourselves because me as a recruiter, my agency, we ended up being Flint's like ideal customer. So we don't have to really spend so much time with research that a lot of other recruiting tech companies would have with founders that are not recruiters. Like we live and breathe the pain ourselves. So we are basically making a product for ourselves. And if we're able to do that, by extension, we're making the products for other recruiters and agencies out there. And I think a lot of the reasons why we ended up building a product ourselves is a lot of the other products out there, even though they're amazing go-to-market or sales or data tools, too expensive, too technical, but most importantly, they're not made for recruiters and by recruiters, right? And I think that's something that like ended up being a huge advantage for us is like we know what our users want because we go through it every single day. So we can make the best product for ourselves. We can make an amazing product for recruiters. And so that's basically kind of been our main focus. And the past couple of weeks, like we've gotten first real feedback for some of our power users that said amazing words like a game changer. This is amazing, saving so much time. And while it's great to feel this ourselves with my own internal team, it's just even more validating to hear it from people who you don't have a relationship with, right? These are complete strangers who use the products, who ends up loving it. And that raises the confidence from here to there, the motivation from here to there, and just focus on trying to make it an awesome tool and product. And so I think it's so easy, like with software, to get carried away with thinking about revenue, with margins and things like that. Our main focus is let's just try to make it the best product that we can, focused on, providing the best solutions for the best pain points that our users are going through every single day, including me and my team, and listen very carefully and be obsessed with feedback and data and making sure our North Star, which is to save recruiters time and money, continue to be the North Star, and we keep trucking along. But I think like one of the biggest takeaways that I've also learned is like how easy it is for your body and your mind to normalize. So like when I was a recruiter, I thought my life was busy. When I started YouTube, I thought, oh my God, I was busy, I can't do anything else. When I started the recruiter school, I felt the same thing. When we started Flint, I felt the same thing too. But then you kind of realize like, wow, for every new like hump, you kind of normalize, you get accustomed to that cadence, and then you realize how much more that you can actually do. And when you thought that you were at capacity, you weren't even scratching the surface of it. And I think that's like magical, but that's also scary on a person like me or you watching. If you're able to have relentless focus, what you can accomplish doing one thing. And so can I continue doing multiple things forever? No, because I also want to be able to see them grow and reach a level of success organically as it evolves. And so at a certain point, I I had to remove myself further from the business lines to really focus on the 1 or 2 things that I really want to focus on. That's fulfilling, I enjoy it, and one that has like the clearest roadmap for the future to continue growing. But at the same time, I think for me, my biggest challenge was managing everything, but I was able to really find the right people, install the right technologies, and that gave me time back. There's still a lot more I can do to get more time back, and there's still more key hires I can make to make that happen, but it just kind of goes along for the ride. You know, in the beginning, I'm like, oh my God, a new business, this is crazy. That requires upfront time and effort to get it up and running, and then you attract the right partners, the people, the team, you get some more time back, and then you really focus on the fires and the areas to propel and push the business forward. And that's where I try to spend a lot of my team on, even though I still do day-to-day recruiting, day-to-day consulting and service through our consulting business, and now like helping with the AI side. But it's been great, and I think the coolest thing is learning different business models. I think all business models are fantastic. They all have the pros and cons, but it just honestly started with YouTube. It also started with just recruiting, and you just never know how life can turn out in the future, what other businesses and ventures you'll do, which other partners you all meet, what other ideas you have. There's so much more to me than just recruiting. I have other passions and other interest areas, and I would also love to kind of use this channel to kind of highlight and showcase a lot of that too. But I also just want to be transparent with where we are, what we're thinking, some of the biggest lessons that I'm dealing with right now, and how to make sure that we're still achieving success individually, as a person, as a team, as businesses, and also collectively, and just try my best to kind of do everything. I still think like if I went all in on one business, it can go way faster. And so now it's like understanding and being aware of the opportunity cost and trying to make sure that I don't remain the main bottlenecks of the business, that I can kind of keep finding solutions and right people and right technology so that I can get my time back and continue to hit whatever goals that I have moving forward. So I had a great day, had a great coaching call, just heard that another one of our clients did a placement. Again, a placement is roughly $20,000 to $40,000 per placement in recruiting. Realistically, in other markets, you're looking at $40,000 to $80,000. So she went from zero experience to now making 5 figures. She has, I think, a bunch of mid rounds and final rounds coming up, chasing her second and third placement. And this is just one of many stories that we get constantly. So if you are interested to start your own agency or be a recruiter, you're fascinated with connecting people, you get a high off of being social, and you want to like look for a business or career that's extremely fulfilling, check out recruiting. And there's a link in the description box on how you can work with us via our splits, how you can level up your agency, start your own agency, or talk to me and my team to learn more. We're going to be sitting here for a couple more hours, focused on more calls, more interviews. We got some more final round interviews, more feedback with clients, and then we're going to get on with our day. All right, time for a quick workout. Let's do it. Workout done. Now just going to be chilling here in the plunge for about 4 minutes. Such a godsend for my legs, inflammation, joints, overall ligaments and muscles. After running, after workout, my legs are shot, and after 3 or 4 minutes in this, back to normal. So going to be doing this. Typically my workouts are all sub 1 hour now, just squeezing it in between calls and meetings. Sometimes it's 20-30 minutes, whatever I can do to get a sweat in between calls and days. So just be standing here, wait until my legs get numb a little bit, and then make a recovery meal. Probably gonna do some vegetables, some eggs, maybe a shake, and then get back on with our day. Guys, we have a problem. Did it again. Bought another car. Not a joke. That's the whole reason why you're here. So what did I get? Here it is in all of its glory. So it looks the same as my previous car, which is the Tesla Model 3 refreshed, but now this is the Tesla Model Y Juniper version 2026. Added the tints, added the sunroof. Love the wheels here, love the color. This is what the back looks like. Love the spoiler here, super, super cool. And this is what the front looks like with the light bar and everything. So went ahead and started cooling it up. Loving it so far, and I'll show you around. So it's cooling up right now, which is one of the best reasons we get a Tesla. Open it. One of the first things I love about this car is just like how much space you have here. Look at this, with the rear bench down and the trunk privacy screen away. Look how much space. I could just lie perfectly straight inside here. Look how much storage space this has. This is so amazing. Perfect for road trips, travel, which is what me and my family, we love to do. We also have here, this is the rear bench here, folded down. One of the things I love about this car that my 3 didn't have is this. You just push the button and the rear bench comes up electronically. Look at that. No more manual. All automation, technology, AI. Look at that. All right, so we are driving. It looks exactly the same as the Model 3. Amazing visibility here. Same with the sides. Gorgeous day here in Las Vegas. And you can get like passenger seat, the rear view. It's all good stuff. All right, we are actually driving to the dentist right now. Not fun, but something you gotta do. But we did the plunge, guys. Got another Tesla. If you saw my previous videos, we had a Tesla Model 3. And the reason why we got this car, the truth is, our lease finished with our Tesla Model 3. We got it on a 2-year lease because honestly, that was our first EV. We had no idea if we were gonna love EVs or hate it. We ended up falling in love, right? We loved the ride. We loved the full self-driving. We love saving money on insurance. We love saving money on not having to ever go to gas stations ever again, which has been amazing. A lot of our initial concerns and questions about driving an EV and making road trips longer, never really a point at all, right? And so it just made us fall in love with EVs. And honestly, like, I'm not a Tesla hardcore fan by all means. I just think like with the price and what you get, Tesla has one of the best values on the market today. And I'm filming this in 2026. With that said though, like, we love EVs. We're so pro EV, and honestly can't really think about driving a gas vehicle or gas vehicle alone. I think the only reason or a scenario we get a gas is if we also had an EV as well that, you know, we can kind of really use as our daily here. But don't miss gas stations. I love the ride. I love the instant torque. I love the technology. I love Netflix and playing video games or whatever when you're chilling or waiting for your car to charge. Overall, it's been awesome. And the coolest thing about this Y is that it's literally the same car as the 3, but you're higher on the ground. You feel not too low. It absorbs the bumps more, the suspension's better. Quietness in the cabin's relatively the same, the comfort, same seats and everything. We actually opted to go for the premium, not for the plaid, because personally I find that the sports seats are less comfortable, and so we opted just to get the regular one. Honestly, we actually wanted to get the Tesla Model X or the S, but I know that if you guys have been following, like, you know, Tesla news for a while, you would know that they just stopped making S or X. And instead of getting an old one, might as well just get a new Y, right? So we did not lease this, we actually financed this, and our plan is to hopefully trade in the next 2, 3, maybe 4 years for another new car. And if you guys are like, oh, you should just save more money on older cars, or you can kind of get your down payments low, yes, I totally agree. But I think driving a car is one of those things where it's, you know, we like to enjoy luxuries, and we like to enjoy and drive the new stuff. We drive a lot, and so what we drive really just adds to our day-to-day quality of life. And I'm not someone who needs to be driving a $300,000 car. I think Tesla Model Y for $50,000 or cheaper than what you get is a tremendous value. So I actually look for value more than price, more than ego or optics out of everything. We could have easily gotten a much more expensive, lavish car, but do we need to? No. And I think Tesla, for what it is, we treat this like a tool. It does more than enough for our use, right? Perhaps we might get another car in the future, but as of right now, this should be completely fine. I'm loving the extra storage, the extra trunk, and then for the passengers, you have extra headroom. I think it's like a net positive value for everybody. So don't have to relearn how to drive this car. It drives exactly the same. The only thing I miss is that Tesla Model 3 had like the buttons on the steering wheel for the left and right signal. Tesla Model Y is like with any other car. They added like the stick again on the left-hand side, which is, yeah, I prefer the buttons, but it is what it is. Can't have it all. But yeah, been loving this car. I'm gonna drive it, put it to use for the next 30 days and make like a 30-day honest review video and thoughts. But all in all, been loving it so far. We actually got a good number of accessories for this car that I'm gonna share with you in just a second. But almost pulling up here to the dentist, I love how I can just drive and talk to the camera without actually having to put my hand on the steering wheel. Of course, I'm still aware. I'm still like watching other cars, and I'm ready to grab the steering wheel and brake at a moment's notice. But it's just been awesome. And honestly, I just came back from south of France and south of Spain, where I had to drive again, almost had to relearn how to drive again, and boy oh boy did I miss driving a Tesla, let alone an electronic car that had full self-driving. And so basically here at our home base, I use the autopilot 99.9%. I barely drive anywhere. You literally just from my house, I can click start, and from the parking lot wherever I am, I click start, takes me back home. It's been an absolute godsend. So pulling in right now, and I'll see you in a bit. All right, let me show you some of the new accessories. So I'm still trying to figure out whether or not I love this. This is actually from my my phone for the MagSafe. The whole idea here is that if you're driving, then my phone usually goes down here, and if I get a text, I can't really check it. Whereas if I check it here, I can see the notification getting live, and I'm not going to piss off like the camera that watches me when full self-driving is on. But I don't know if I love it. The phone goes here. I can't even see the notifications fully. I have to really put the phone a lot higher, and then it's blocking my view. So I'm still kind of waiting my time on this. We also got from Amazon this really cool little shelf that you can add. It's all magnetic on the other side, which is really cool, but it's a great place to add keys, gum, any knickknacks. We also added some sliding shelf here to help with organization because down here is so deep. Same thing with the glove department here as well. As you can see, like, all Teslas come with a sunroof, but we got this sunshade on Amazon. It actually kind of ruins the look of the car internally, but it's so needed here in Southwest because the sun is so strong. Even with the best tints and the UV filtering, you can still feel like your scalp just getting way too hot. And this is just like another look here of the car. And one other thing is, like, all around the car on the floors, we added some all-terrain mats to really protect the car, to help the resale value. Same thing on the passenger seat, driver's seat, and also here. You can kind of see we added some extra protection so any spillage or garbage doesn't really ruin the car. But all in all, it looks exactly the same. You still got your MagSafe here with the phone. We got a new shelf here. You got an amazing responsive touchscreen here, which I love. Same black interior with dark gray exterior. Everything looks good. All right, dentist done. Never fun going to the dentist, and the one that we go to is surprisingly very aggressive with all the upselling and cross-selling and downselling, and every time I go there, they're trying to push a whole nother product and service to me. I mean, kudos to them as a business, but dentist by itself is just not fun to go to, and the last thing you want is all these products and services pushed on you. But anyway, teeth feel nice and clean. Heading back home, got to do a couple more calls and then might go for a swim. It is getting ridiculously hot here in the Southwest, and in retrospect, probably should have built a pool in our backyard. Maybe something that we might still do or end up doing in the future, but it's extremely expensive. But thank goodness my siblings live in a community that has a community pool that we have a key to. So when it gets too hot, we like to cool down there because it's ungodly hot. I think it's like 105 degrees right now. One of our favorite ways to kind of cool off, end the day after a productive work day or a beautiful sunny summer day here in Las Vegas. So going to be able to do that, and then probably going to cook something at home and end the night. But one of the things that people ask me a lot is like, what's my routine? And I think it's just so important to have a routine. Working for yourself, even having a job, it kind of gives you a sense of home, a sense of stability, a weekly cadence that you can look forward to, that you can plan around. And I think especially if you're working for yourself where you don't have a boss, I think having a routine is so important, so you remain focused, you remain productive, you're able to feel great every single day. The routine, it just applies to work, it also applies to diet, it applies to exercise, making sure all pillars of your life is firing on all cylinders. And you're not only crushing it business financially, but also like spiritually or physically or nutritionally or mentally, physically, all of the above, right? But to me, as much as I love traveling, I love also being home and just doing the same thing over and over again. I eat the same stuff, I do my same workouts, and it just allows me to really put my all on the playing field at work, where it's extremely demanding. I have to always think about all these different things that are happening, all these different offers, meetings and interviews and initiatives and goals. And so the last thing I want to do is be able to think about, what am I going to eat? What am I going to wear? I just wear honestly the same thing, and I eat the same thing, so that my brain has all the space and capacity to focus on the important stuff. So really happy to be at home. I love traveling, don't get me wrong, but I also love being at home in our house with our wellness, nutrition, and workout routine. And yeah, just, even something simple as like jumping in the pool hits a spot. I mean, the other way to kind of really upgrade that is like jumping in the sea or the ocean, which obviously Vegas does not have, but you can't have it all, until we move to California or something beautiful, or maybe the south of France, which was just mind-blowingly beautiful. But for the time being, just going to enjoy the rest of the day, finish off, and see you in a bit. Oh man, that was an incredible swim, guys. I just remember living in New York City where being able to end your day in a pool was an absolute luxury, just because there are no swimming pools in New York City, and if there are, they're usually a gym or some sort of club that you have to pay money. And that's where my wife and I started our careers and our life, basically. And I started with a $30K a year job, and luxuries like pools just didn't exist. I remember growing up with the pool, was grateful for that luxury, growing up in Massachusetts, and I used to be in it every single summer, every single week that it was opened. But then college and grad school happened, came back to New York, and just, I've always loved the water, and every chance I get, I would absolutely jump in the pool, but it was never part of the lifestyle. And it's even more crazy that I'm living here in the Southwest. I'm originally from the East Coast, New York City, DC, Boston. I remember my wife and I were thinking about buying a house in DC. We made an offer, it didn't go through. We came to visit some family here in Vegas during the holidays, and I don't know if you guys been to the Southwest during December, January. It's the most beautiful time of the year, when the rest of the country, especially the East Coast, is freezing with snow and hail. It's 67 degrees and sunny here in Vegas and Arizona, and we just kind of fell in love. And so we came out here to hang out with the family, and before we left, we're like, let's just check out some homes for fun. And we found a neighborhood, and we're like, let's just put an offer in, let's lowball it, it's not going to happen. And then they quickly came back and said, you're approved and we accept. And we're like, oh my God, is this happening? And so we went from just making an offer kind of for fun and playing with the idea of moving to the West Coast to actually moving here. And so this is our third year now. Our first year was pretty difficult in terms of the summer here. We underestimated how hot it actually gets. At the end of the summer, I think we made a huge mistake, but then we stuck it out, and by year 2, it got a little better. And now by year 3, we're just loving it. And we used to run away a lot to California, to Los Angeles, San Diego, when it gets too hot here, or even when it's not. And this year, last time we went to California was in February, and I'm shooting this in June. It's the longest stretch of time we've stayed in Vegas without actually traveling, running away to the ocean and beaches of LA. And we've become locals now. And so obviously summer still gets hot, but we just came back from Europe where it's just as hot, but they have humidity on top. I think one of the saving graces of living in Vegas is that even though the temperature gets ridiculous, it still remains dry, which crazy for me to say now, but it's manageable. And the East Coast person would have been like, man, 90 degrees, 100 degrees, that's absolutely crazy. But now that I'm here for a couple of years, it's actually not that bad. And now that I experience the temperature plus humidity, that's even worse, and that's actually very, very dangerous. And so we just came back from Spain and France. I couldn't even walk out for 20-30 minutes without just physically shutting down and dying. And it does get super hot here in Vegas, but you don't really get that last kick in the butt or the punch in the stomach as the humidity would do in Europe. So very grateful for that. But it's just crazy, honestly, that we're living here in the Southwest. I always thought I was going to stay in the East Coast forever with my life, but you just never know where life will take you, honestly. And you just never know what could happen if you work hard, make decisions, sometimes go with the flow. We always were curious about life here in the West Coast, and now we're here. And who knows how long we're going to stay here? Are we going to go back to the East Coast? Are we going to move somewhere else? There are a lot of other parts of the country that we love, Pacific Northwest, Midwest. Who knows, maybe even living in a different country, right? Like Europe, Scandinavia, UK. I think the world is just so big. And so one of the blessings in my life is every chance I got to live somewhere else, year abroad, a couple years abroad, living in different states. I highly recommend everyone do that. You just learn so much about the world, interacting with new people, new cultures. You get to grow, you get to quickly figure out, who you are, develop that confidence, develop that, communication skills, and that the really strong mindset that, even though you put yourself in new or uncomfortable situations, you can still make the most of it and you can still make it happen, wherever you are. I remember that I went to a boarding school for high school, left home very, very young, and then I went to college in a different country. And so that really taught me to just I can't rely on my family, can't rely on my parents. It's up to me. I got to make it happen. I couldn't run back home even if I got homesick. I just had to make it happen on my own and find a way and find solutions. And so I think that helped me really create just strong mental strength that I carry today that is so easily transferable to life, to a career, to job, to running my own business. And I think one thing I want to talk about is I think when you start your own business, one thing that people really take or don't really think about is just the pressure, right? So when you get a job, you have one level of pressure, a pressure from your boss, pressure with your goals and metrics, but that baseline of pressure jumps significantly when you work for yourself. And so when I went from working for a job, then decided to become a solo recruiter and be a solo agency person in the beginning, I had a whole different line of pressure, not just to make sure I do everything correctly each day, each week, and hitting my goals, which is the same amount of pressure that I have at a job, but also just the pressure to survive, to make it happen, to prove to myself, to my friends, to my fiance and wife at the time, right, that I can kind of make this happen. And then you start to familiarize and normalize to that level of pressure. That pressure never goes away. I think what gets better is your management of that pressure. But the crazy thing is, like, after all these years of just working for myself, every time I do something new, the bigger the team, new businesses, new services, guess what? The pressure doesn't go away. It actually increases. And so I realized, like, if you really want to have a bigger success, bigger goal, you have to also be willing to have and be okay with a bigger amount of pain every single day, more on the line, more just like stress, the hard pressure that can either break you or make you into a diamond. And the more that you push yourself, the more that your business grows, the greater that pressure gets, and it never stops. It just never goes away. And I think I realize now, like, what separates really good entrepreneurs from people who start businesses and stop. It could be a lot of different things, but what I realize is a lot of it could just be like your strength to pressure and how long you can deal with that pressure every day, every week for a long periods of time. And for some people, it's not worth it, and that's fine. Not everyone needs to work for themselves. I think for me, that's just kind of the way I'm wired. I've always been wired. I've always done my own thing, been in my own lane, been a little bit different, always saw and thought differently. And as much as I had jobs, like, I would either drive myself crazy or ultimately I would drive the company or my manager crazy. So I just have to make it work for myself as an entrepreneur. But that doesn't mean that everyone should aspire to do that too. I just really have no choice, and I just have to kind of make it happen. But I wondered as I go through my journey, like, is this pressure ever going to go away? It doesn't. And I think sometimes there are days where it's like so tough. I wake up, I sometimes get paralyzed, or in the mornings I have these strong bouts of anxiety. But every year that I don't give up, I stay in the game, I keep doing it, I get better and stronger at managing this pressure and being able to still find and maintain focus with this level of pressure, I think, is what separates some of the high performers, business operators, and others. And by all means, I'm still a very small business compared to many, many others, but I think, like, a lot of people don't really talk about the emotional, psychological stress and anxiety that happens behind the scenes. Everyone talks about and glorifies the money you can make, the lifestyle, and all that's great. But I think you can really only enjoy that, and you deserve that, if you can also strengthen and be okay to deal and manage with just the higher level of anxiety and stress and pressure that we deal with every single day. And that's why, like, business owners relate really well to other business owners, because, like, everything that running a business is, aside from hiring and revenue income, it's a psychological element, a mental element, emotional element that a lot of your family and friends, if they don't work for themselves, they just are never gonna get. And that's why, like, you hear a lot of people say that entrepreneurship can be very lonely, because if you have a small team or it's just you, no one can really relate unless you talk to another business owner. And how many business owners do you know in your life unless you go out there and look for them or network, right? And so I think, like, as I look back at my journey and moving forward, a lot of it is time management, organization, risk management, all that's important, but I think it's really pain management. How long are you willing to go through a high level of pain and stress and anxiety every single day to be able to go after lifestyle or goal or milestone that you want to achieve? And I think for a lot of us that are wired, like, you can't have one without the other, and it's part of the game. It's part of the territory. And so does it ever get easier? No. Every time I try to do something else or my team expands, we launch new businesses, that pain level that I just got used to, like, increases to the next level, right? And so I think for bigger and bigger businesses, that pain and that stress and that anxiety just amplifies, right? So the bigger the goal, the milestones you have to be willing to be okay with that same level of anxiety and stress and pain that might come your way. And so start small, try it out. But again, I think, like, stay focused, understand that the pain, anxiety, and stress, that is part of the game and that will never go away. Just focus and try your best to manage that. Get to a level where you can kind of enjoy some sort of semblance of life and separation and boundaries. And then before that you push or you want to strive for that next level in your business, understand that that's also going to unlock the next level of stress and anxiety and pain. And so I really look up to people and really respect people that have big businesses or that have been in business longer than me, because if it's tough for me every day, man, it's tough for them every single day, but on a whole different scale. And so I feel like even though I've been doing this for over 10 years, I just started on my entrepreneur activity and journey, and I'm still really just learning about, like, what is this journey encompassing? Like, what does it entail? It's been great. It's been tough. It's been challenging. But boy, would I not do anything else, honestly. So just really grateful that, you know, for all the pain and stress that we go through, you can do this. You can buy a house. You can live somewhere else. You can, whatever experiences that you want, whatever material things you want to purchase, working for yourself is definitely going to be able to put you in a position to be able to do that. And boy, oh boy, does it feel so much better to buy things, to go on vacation, if you have your own business rather than getting a salary. Like everything that you have done and you're able to purchase, every trip that you take working for yourself, every dollar just hits differently. It just means so much more than just using the money that you get at a job. Not to negate that or minimize that anyway. So driving back home right now, gonna do my wellness nighttime routine, eat some good food, and we'll call it a day. And yeah, just another great Thursday. Looking forward to tomorrow, Friday, where I have a lot of really, really big meetings and client calls that I want to be able to hopefully do well to finish off the week. All right, guys, made it back home. Before dinner, gonna do my wellness routine, and it consists of hot and cold. So this is cold. This is our plunge that we got earlier this year, and we waited a little bit because I wasn't sure if I was gonna love it or if I was never gonna use it. But my God, it's a lifesaver. Helps me sleep. I feel so much better. Joints, inflammation. I love it. But I don't just do this alone. I also mix it with our hot. This is our sauna, a 3 to 4 person sauna. Definitely did sauna way before it was mainstream and trendy, and I just can't live without it, honestly. So we're heating it up right now. We have proper finish rocks here, but look at this. This is like my sanctuary, one time of the day where I do not have my phone or computer on me. I just sit here for about 15, 20 minutes. It's already getting really hot here, and then I jump in the plunge, and then I do a couple rounds of it, and it's just been a godsend. Great for the heart, great for sleep, great for just mental well-being, longevity, mentally, psychologically, all of the above. Like, this is my anchor each day, and this is one of the reasons why I just love being home and I miss being home. And so if you have to pick one, I would say pick the sauna for all the benefits. But again, if you can, sauna and plunge, that's the dream setup. The only thing I'm missing is like a jacuzzi. Maybe I should just put it here, we'll see. But I'm gonna be doing this, shower up, get some food, and call it a day.
Like your friend Charles hates it. I hate it. With Wayfair,